This is a lesson on idioms. Study it, learn these idioms because it's important because in a Native American speaking, people who speak English as their language, we use a lot of idioms. And so in order to understand what a person is saying, you need to know these idioms. I'm not saying you need to use them, but you simply need to understand them when you hear them so you understand what the person is saying. Study this, memorize these idioms, go over this a few times, and the instructions are there. So, good luck.
An unpleasant colleague. Tim was one of the least liked people at work. That wasn't always the case, but, over time, he became the one person everyone in the office tried to avoid. Of course, there was a reason for this. In fact, there were many reasons. Most importantly, Tim wasn't liked because he had won the rat race. He was number one and people were jealous, pure and simple. Still, it's important to remember that even the high man on the totem pole may have days on which they're in bad sorts. That was true last week and, as you can imagine, his colleagues were more than happy to thumb their nose at him. It all started when Peter ruffled Tim's feathers by announcing a drop in sales. Tim felt Peter had let things slide and therefore sales had decreased. Of course, this rubbed Peter in the wrong way. In fact, he stirred up the hornet's nest by blaming Tim for having ridden roughshod over the sales force. They, in turn, had reacted badly and not worked hard enough. Peter claimed that the sales force would never bite the hand that feeds it. They continued to argue for some time and soon everyone was involved. Sales is an essential part of any business, and there are cycles when sales are up and sales are down. Still, it is never a good idea to wash your dirty linen in public, but Tim was angry at Peter and was in bad sorts. Tim accused Peter of passing the buck and then started to list all the things Peter had supposedly done wrong. Unfortunately for Tim, Peter had a number of the sales force on his side. They backed him up and complained of Tim's continual pressuring tone. In the end, Tim had to eat humble pie and everyone returned to their desk with a slight smile on their face. Idioms used in the story. Ruffle someone's feathers equals to bother someone. Rub someone the wrong way equals to make a bad impression on someone else. Ride roughshod over someone equals to treat a person with little consideration, to treat a person poorly. High man on the totem pole equals the most important person in an organization. In bad sorts equals feeling bad, in an unfortunate position. The last straw equals the final thing that someone does to make someone very angry. Thumb one's nose at someone or something equals to ignore, to not take seriously. Rat race equals everyday life and work. Eat humble pie equals to be forced to accept that one is not the best. To be humiliated. Put one's food in the one's mouth equals to say something that is embarrassing. Bite the hand that feeds it equals to criticize one's place of work or means of earning a living. Wash one's dirty linen in public equals to complain about others in public. Pass the buck equals to not take responsibility for something. Stir up a hornet's nest equals to make a great deal of trouble. Let something slide equals to ignore a situation.